Hello, everyone. So I want to show you how to run a hypothesis test in the desktop version of Minitab. So I'm going to show it with both numerical and categorical data. So I already have my files open, so I'll go ahead and share my screen. So we'll start with the categorical side. So I use this same data in another video for confidence intervals where I recoded my column 3 and I placed it into column 2 for what people do with their baggage when they're flying. So I wanted to recode it into binary. So it's just they carry all their baggage or they don't carry all their baggage, right? So if they don't, it could be all different things, but it's just binary. So it's either they do carry it all or they don't. So the question in the survey would be, do you carry all your baggage? Yes or no. So let's go ahead and take a look at a hypothesis test. So I'm going to go up here to the menu and choose stat, then choose basic statistics, and I'm going to choose one proportion. So it's the same feature we use for confidence intervals. We will use also for the hypothesis test. So here I want to choose, it asks if I have summarized data or if I have data in a column. So if we have summarized data, I'm going to choose that. And it will just ask me X and N. So if I have that, that's fine. If I have the column here, and maybe I'll just show you both really quick. So I have the column. So let's take a look. It's the recoded baggage is what I'm looking at. Now for the hypothesis test, I am going to check the box that says hypothesis test. And maybe I want to prove that the the proportion of people who are flying that check all their baggage is maybe greater than 40% or something. Maybe I'll put 40 here, okay? Then I'm going to choose options. And under options, my confidence level does not matter. Actually, when I'm looking at hypothesis test, we're comparing alpha and my p-value on our own, so this doesn't matter, but my alternative needs to match my HA. And if we're looking at a greater than, I am going to simply choose the greater than symbol here. Now we always want to change this. It defaults as exact. I'm going to change it to normal approximation every time. All right, so let's go ahead and click OK and take a look. So I'm going to ignore this top section. I mean, it's a nice place to just look at the information, but I don't need to do anything here with a 95% lower bound. I'm just going to look right down here. So in my testing portion of the output, I do like to confirm that my null and my alternative match what I have in my write-up. Then I also am going to get my z-test statistic and my p-value. So my z-test statistic tells me how far my sample is away from the center, and then my p-value is that area and the tail. So if it's a greater than, I'm just visualizing this is all to the right, which that's exactly what we're looking at with a 9, right? 9 is to the right of a 0. Okay, so that's how I'm going to use Minitab desktop version to get this information. Now I want to show you how to do the same exact problem, but using the summarized data feature. So what I need from this, and I would already have this if I had this summarized, is I would have X and N. So X is the number of individuals who said yes, so 466, and N is the total number of individuals that were surveyed, so 824. So I'm just going to hang on to those numbers as we move on to this next section here. So go back into stat, basic, one proportion. So same feature, just now I'm going to choose summarize data. So here in this feature, it asks me number of events and number of trials. Number of events is X. So it's just like P hat X over N. So X goes in first. So that was 466 said yes, that they carry all out of a total of 824 individuals who were surveyed. Now, if I'm running the same hypothesis test, I would keep this selected. I would keep the 0.4. I would keep the greater than, and of course, make sure this is a normal approximation. So let's go ahead and click OK twice here. We would get the same output, right? Right here, my z-test statistic 9.7, p-value very small, or it looks like 0. Okay. So that's what we see here. I do want to just remind you, if we see all zeros, we say very small and not just zero. If you are skeptical, if it's really a number there, you can expand those decimal places and see that there's typically numbers there. In this case, we still don't see them. They're really small. So it goes out even further than 16 decimal places, but we never report as zero. We always say very small. Okay, now I'm going to show you for some numerical data. So if you see here down at the bottom, I have another spreadsheet here, and we're studying miles per gallon of vehicles, and I'm going to do the same thing. So I will go into stat, basic, and one sample t. So I have one sample of numerical data. I'm using the t-curve. Now, this is already open here like this because I just used this to find the confidence interval, but now I want to find and go through the hypothesis test. So I have a column of data. I don't have the summarized data, so I'm going to choose one or more samples in a column, and I choose the miles per gallon here. Now, the next thing I want to do is select perform hypothesis test. So I need to think about, what do I want to say about the hypothesis? So maybe I want to say something like the miles per gallon on the vehicles is under 26 or something like that. So for the population mean. So I'm going to look there and plug in 26, and I'm going to choose options. Now, remember, for a hypothesis test, the confidence level doesn't matter here. So we can leave it at whatever it is. It could be 90, 95. It doesn't impact my test output. Now the alternative needs to match my HA. So if it's a less than, I'm just going to select the less than. All right, so let's go ahead and run this. Okay, so here is my just some of my data here. So my N is 13, my mean is 21.8, standard deviation 2.075, right? And I go down here of my test data. Of course, I like to double check to make sure these are exactly how I have them in my write-up. My t-value, negative 7.22. So it just means that my sample is 7.22 standard errors below my center. And my p-value, again, it looks like zero like it did, but we say very small. I'm just going to expand to see if we see anything. There's some numbers, okay? So it's just with the rounding with Minitab. So there are some numbers there. We just say very small when we see something looks like zero. All right, so again, we could do the same thing like we did with the categorical side, where you can go into the same feature and you could choose summarized data, and you can plug in N, X bar, and S, and it will calculate everything the same for you. So I'm just going to write down these numbers, and we can just try that real quick in case anyone wants to see that. So I will go back to the same feature. So stat, basic, one sample T. Just now I'm going to select summarized data. So sample size is 13. Sample mean was 21.846, and standard deviation, not standard error, standard deviation, 2.075. It will calculate the standard error for you for the calculation within. Now, I just use this feature. I don't have to change anything. So it has the 26 here for my null, and it has the less than for my HA. All right, I'm going to click OK. We should get the same results, and there we are. We have the same results as this previous. So right here, when we looked at it right there, okay, with the raw data versus summarized data. Great.